Welcome once again to Eastern Newsbeat, Channel 31. Peter MacArthur and Bill Page with you. In a moment or two, Bill will be talking to, and Tricia Zima will be talking to people from the Whitehorse Council, including the Mayor, Councillor Mark Lane. Bill Page is here. Bill, there's a series starting on, and we started it last week, but it's continuing, and that's your visit to South America and some of those spectacular pictures that you took. And another episode will continue at the end of this program in the third segment.
Yeah, that's right. And for memory, I'll be in Argentina up at Iguazu Falls.
Right.
And I think that was the second episode. It's just a fantastic waterfall.
When did you go there? Was that...
about 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, right. And hadn't been to where yet?
No. So,
yes. You get around a bit all right, and you obviously you don't mind going through underdeveloped countries where you can put a little bit of touch of danger sometimes, but you seem to thrive on it.
Yeah, I prefer that because you're seeing different culture.
It is.
Vastly different culture, actually, because... you're seeing more of the more indigenous type of people who live totally different to what we do, and to people in Europe or even Asia.
Sounds good. Look, that's coming up in the third segment. I'll move over to Bill and also Tricia Zima to continue.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, today we're talking to people from the Council of Whitehorse about the Healesville Freeway Reservation Project, and I just dropped the names of the people. I've got Councillor Mark Lane, who's the Mayor of the City of Whitehorse, and Councillor Raylene Carr. And you start off, Mark. What's the proposal with the Healesville Freeway?
Well, currently, as many people will be aware, Vic Roads has said that they no longer require the Healesville Freeway reservation between Springvale Road and Baronia Road. They no longer require it for that freeway. So now the position is, what do we do with the land? So council's putting their hand up and saying, well, we would like to see open space along that area. And Vic Roads are currently going through a consultation with the community and a deliberative forum, which is happening yesterday, being Friday, and today on Saturday, to work out some principles around what will happen with the parcel of land into the future.
So what's on the land at the moment?
Well, currently the land has quite a few different aspects. At the Springvale Road end, we have Wobby's World, or what was Wobby's World. It's currently a nursery, and that area is proposed for a new police station, and we're working through that with Victoria Police at the moment. Behind there, we've got a cricket ground, which is behind Parkmore Primary School, and that's called Davy Lane Oval, and we have over 200 cricketers use that every summer. And we also have pre-season football training occurring on that site as well. As we move further down, we have quite a few aspects of remnant bushland and what's called Valley Heath Forest. And the Valley Heath Forest is quite rare now. Most of it's been cleared, so we're trying to protect some of these areas as well. If we move further down along to Tarara Road and beyond, you come into the Bellbird Dell, and you'll hear a bit more about that shortly. But Bellbird Dell is a major piece of greenery and bushland that we're trying to protect in the area. Then we're moving further out, and we get out towards Vermont Secondary College. Nebraska Care Unit actually have a farmlet there to help their clients, do a bit more in the community, feel a bit more worth, and people with a disability really enjoy the sorts of work they do out there. And then we end up out at Baronia Road, and that's sort of it in a nutshell.
All right, so who owns the land? You want to talk, Raylene, or no? Okay. Who owns the land now?
Well, currently the majority of the Healesville Freeway Reservation is owned by Vic Roads. There's a portion around the Strathton Homestead which is not part of the reservation, is owned by council. There are a couple of little bits that are owned by council as well along the whole length of the reservation, and at the far end, down the Baronia Road end, is owned by DSE.
Who are
Department
DSE?
of Sustainability Environment.
Oh, right. So
the rest is owned by Vic Roads.
Vic Roads own it. They don't want to use it now, so they want to sell it off.
Well, they want to, yes.
In a nutshell,
yes.
Yeah. So what's the problem with that?
Well, the problem with that is around development, and the community are used to this piece of land. We've got schools in the area that have been there for over 50 years. They currently use the area, particularly Davey Lane Oval, is used for the school kids. The school's expanded. They've had to build on top of their oval, and you'll hear a bit more about that shortly as well. But the whole area has been used for open space by the community for a very long time. So for us, it's about protecting particular areas of the reservation, but also about saying, well, what is, if there is to be development on the site, allow council to be the planning authority to ensure that it's sustainable and environmentally friendly development.
All right. So you're not the planning authority for this, because I thought the council's almost had the ultimate say.
Because it's government-owned land, Vic Roads being the owner of the planning authority, they've given that authority up to the Minister of Planning. So the planning authority for this land now is the Minister for Planning,
All right.
Matthew Guy.
Okay, so I've got to ask this question because the viewers sitting at home will probably be thinking about it. Mm-hmm. If the freeway went ahead, then there'd be a freeway there, wouldn't there?
Correct. Yeah.
So what's the problem then?
Well, if the freeway went ahead, there's not a lot we could do about that. That's what it would be. But the fact is there is no freeway going to be there. So what is the best utilisation of that space now? And the best utilisation, I guess, is a mixed use, but predominantly keeping it for open space for our future, for our future generations. In the city of Whitehorse, we're very proactive on creating open space and getting more open space. In the last 2 years, we've actually bought 3 parcels of land throughout the city to use as open space because we don't have enough currently. So for us in this area, this would be a significant realisation of our open space strategy.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be up for sale. Would the council be able to buy some? Do you want the whole lot, or to be sort of open space, or would you be happy with some of it to be sold off for housing or something?
Ideally, we'd have it all. Yeah. The problem is we don't have approximately $115 million to buy it. Okay. So it's a significant purchase price. Some of it could never be built on. As I said before, we have some key areas of interest. We would love to get it. 115 million is probably market price to develop the whole thing. You could probably work a way out of that as to limiting it. Council aren't overly flush with money, so we would be looking at I guess some partnerships and some understanding with the government and with Vic Roads as to what would happen with the land.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Raylene, what have you got to say on these matters? We've got the plan here. Do you need to refer to the plan at all?
I will in a minute, but I must say that it's a very important piece of land. There's no question it's important to the residents of the city of Whitehorse and visitors to the city. They will all use this land if it is left as public open space. Depending on the subdivisions that Vic Roads approve or the Minister of Planning approve for this site, we could have up to 1,000 houses on that site. Now, we need public open space to accommodate those, so if the worst case scenario comes and they do put 1,000 houses on the site, they must reserve at least 30-50% of it for public open space for those people to use and for others to use. And as Mark has just said, we do want 100% of it, and we'll work it out. They've given us an estimate of $1 million to maintain it. We'll get the money somehow, we'll work it out, because it is just so important. Now,
so you're in discussions at the moment with Vic Roads and... No,
absolutely not. No, nothing. Vic Roads are planning on, after their consultation processes are all completed, they're planning on presenting to council and the general public 3 scenarios, 3 proposals in April, and they'll ask for feedback and community comment and feedback from that.
Okay, do you want to... Peter's indicating that we should look at the map here.
Yes, that's fine.
Yep.
We have written to the ministers on several occasions. We've been doing this for at least a couple of years. We have outlined 8 locations along this parcel of land where we would like to retain, which are currently being used. We have Bellbird Dell, we have Morak Golf Course, which is in here somewhere. It's difficult to see on this map because they're not really outlined there. We have Davy Lane Reserve, which is a reserve that is a magnificent little piece of the land, if you like. It's currently used, as Mark said, for cricketers and for football players. They come along there and they train. It's also the only off-lead dog park in the area, so dog walkers use it a lot. And it's a very safe piece of land because it is off the main road and it's towards the back a little bit. We have vegetation areas along Davy Lane, Tarara Road and Baroni Road that are very important that we maintain. One thing that we would like to make sure that does happen, absolutely, is when and if the police station goes ahead, and it has been flagged to go ahead, but it does need council approval, that we have requested that an Eastlink bicycle path be all the way from Baronia Road right through to Springvale Road to link up with, to eventually link up through streets and things with Gardeners Creek rail trail. So we have requested that the police look at allowing us to put an east-west bike path along there. Strathton Orchard, of course, is very important. That has heritage value, so along with the homestead, and the sports fields I've already mentioned. Sorry.
We're going to have to close it there because we're getting the wind up from Peter. A very quick one.
Just on the trail from Baronia Road to Springvale Road, it's actually vitally important that we have a bio-link. So that's not just for bikes and pedestrians, it's also for flora and fauna. So the animals can move through the whole precinct from bushy area to bushy area, but also for the flora to actually populate and reproduce along the whole length of the reservation. So it's very important that the trail is also known as a bio-link, so it's more than just for pedestrians and bike riders.
Okay, we'll have more after the break, and I've been talking to the Mayor of Whitehorse, Councillor Mark Lane, and also Councillor Raylene Carr. You're watching Eastern Newsbeat, courtesy of Era TV.
Back to Eastern Newsbeat. We are discussing the Healesville Freeway and the release of that land for open space. I have two lovely ladies with me here today. I have Glenda Pryor, who is president of Parkmore Primary School, and I have Anne Makijani, who is the secretary of the Bellbird Dell Advisory. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're here to talk about the different issues resolved around the Healesville Freeway and the release of that land. What are the issues for Parkmore Primary?
The issues are that we would really like the land to stay as open space because we're very much a community focused school. We leave our gates open so the community can access it, and we know how much that land is being used by the local community. It's a dog-free park, leash-free park. It's also used by the locals for football and cricket and games. Children play in the trees. They're really getting out there and enjoying the local neighbourhood and having a fantastic time. The school uses it for sporting events. It uses it for curriculum areas like geography and history. It uses it for understanding the diversity of our neighbourhood. So Strathton Orchard is just near Springvale Road, which is adjacent to our property, and we actually have, in our new rebuild, have actually built a mini orchard that sort of links into that, which has been terrific and gives the children an appreciation of what the land was before it actually became schools and houses.
Because it was orchards as well as there was a pony club there years ago, and of course the Strathton Heritage Cottage is sitting there, which is of huge value to our area.
Yes, it is. And we use that, we visit, we walk through there, the children look at the development of the trees. So it's a real hands-on learning environment. Not only that, last night my staff tell me that there were over 80 people from all different ages playing kick-to-kick football. So it's very much a community resource.
And the dog off-lead dog training groups, they're there every afternoon, aren't they?
Yes, they are. In fact, I was talking to one man and I took a photo of the dogs just as an example, and he said, "Oh, come back in half an hour, there'll be 20 of us here."
Now, you're actually here for 4 different schools.
I am, yes. We're on the northern boundary of the Healesville Reservation, and Emmaus College is actually there on the southern boundary, and their students use it very similarly but on a higher level for curriculum studies and sport. They also use it as an access pathway through to Jollymont Road.
Well, and the kids travel through there to and from school as well. Yes. It's a walking zone, as well as I'm pretty sure they use it for their annual cross-country tracks and things like that.
Yes, they do, as we do too. So it's fantastic. It's just a wonderful, wonderful resource. At the back, people go out and fly kites. They will use remote control like aeroplanes, the little ones. So it's just an area that's available. And for us, it's really important to keep it.
Now, Anne, you're on the advisory group for the Bellbird Dell, which is absolutely a vital part of the conservation of the area, isn't it?
Absolutely. This entire corridor has several sections of endangered remnant vegetation, and at the moment they are isolated islands. So we need to protect those islands because some of them are very valuable. We've got orchids on some of them. Most of the remnant areas along this reserve are an endangered vegetation which is known as the Valley Heathy Forest. In the entire Gippsland area, not just metropolitan Melbourne, we have lost 98% of the original Valley Heathy Forest vegetation that we had.
And they're at the Bellbird Dell still?
We still have, and along the reserve as well, we have small pockets, isolated pockets of this vegetation. So it is very, very valuable for that reason. And for lots of other reasons, we have very good quality habitat and conservation value sections along this reserve.
Well, it's the nesting area of the bellbirds.
The bellbirds come and go, but we have lots of other fauna that are valuable. We've cited, I have personally cited 3 state significant, like the powerful owl, the Nankeen night heron, as well as the grey goshawk.
And you said there were sugar gliders.
Yes, we have. We were so delighted recently, a few years ago, to discover that we have a population of sugar gliders in the Dell, and it's the only confirmed sighting of, or the confirmed population of sugar gliders in the entire city of Whitehorse. There are other, we have anecdotal information that there could possibly be sugar gliders elsewhere, but this is the only confirmed site. So that is a population that we really want to improve the habitat for, and therefore we really need to extend the east-west corridor for the Bellbird Dell, going up to Tarara Road on the one side and to the rear of Nebraska. The benefit of that is we also connect the pocket that is at the back of Nebraska. Instead of being an isolated island, it gets included into the Bellbird Dell Reserve.
Excellent. Now, what we're going to be doing is putting together a petition that will be spread throughout the Vermont area. It will either be at the Vermont South Community House or at the local schools, the Strathdown Nursing Home. If you want to support the retaining of these areas, please make the effort to get to one of those areas to sign the petition to save the Bellbird Dell and these open spaces areas along the Healesville Freeway. We don't need high-density housing. We need space for friends, for family, for horticulture, and to save our conservation.
You're watching Era TV's Eastern Newsbeat, and this is the second instalment of my recent trip to South America. As I previewed in the first instalment, I'm now at Iguazu Falls on the northern border of Argentina, with Brazil and Paraguay. Niagara Falls is more famous, but that is probably because it is in America, and Americans are terrific self-promoters. But Iguazu Falls is number 2 or 3 in the world, and totally leaves Niagara in its shadow. It is so big that you can easily spend a whole day there, seeing many and different varied views of it. I spent a whole day there, and I was so blown away by it that I went back again the next day and did it all again, and I certainly wasn't bored. The flow of the water and the sound of it going over the falls is almost deafening, and you can hear it from at least 1 kilometre away. One terrific thing that you can do is to do a boat ride, which takes you through the wall of water to get behind the falls. Sure, you do get wet, and the force of the water falling from such a height is just fantastic. But they do warn you that this will happen, you will get wet, and they also warn you to put your camera in a plastic bag. Getting your clothes wet is not a problem, because when I was there it was so hot that putting your clothes out on the rocks to dry only took about a half an hour. The main area that all visitors make a beeline for is called the Devil's Throat. And if you only have a few hours to see Iguazu Falls, then this is the #1 must-see. It is so awesome that I don't think anyone has ever attempted to go over it in a barrel. The water and the falls is not the only thing to see here at Iguazu, as the scenery is just magnificent, and also the bird, butterfly and animal life is also very worthwhile. The blue-necked bird here is called a Gracha picaza, and that animal that looks a bit like a raccoon, I suppose, is called a cootie, and the butterfly life was just so varied and wonderful. So lots of things to see around Iguazu. And after 2 days on the Argentinian side, I thought I'd better go and see it from the Brazilian side. Here you can't get up as close to the water, but you can get a better appreciation of the volume of water going over the edge. The amount of water flowing is massive, and when I was there the water level was abnormally low because of a long spell of dry and almost drought weather.